Alright. I gotta make another video. Okay. I'm gonna make this video just for people who want to, or I guess that are still questioning if they should try out Destiny 2, or if you want to come back to Destiny 2. Because Destiny 2's, well, I should say, Destiny's life cycle in general has had pretty big highs and pretty big lows. I'm just gonna play this video in the background. It's one of the new trailers they just released, just for like some theme to the video, you know, and to get like a better idea of what they're gonna showcase in the new DLC. If you're still pondering if you should buy the DLC or not. So yeah, whether you're a new player returning or yeah, whether you're a new player or a returning player is what I meant to say. Um, Destiny is a game that I think is worth trying because it's free, but don't expect this game to be your AAA. Like, if you're expecting to launch this game and you've been gone for longer than a few seasons, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of just shit thrown in your face. And that's pretty much how the whole game is going to be, unless you have if you have a friend who plays this game, 100% ask them. Maybe you haven't talked to them for months on Discord or something. DM them, be like, yo, what's good? Think about trying this game. Could you maybe coach me through it or whatever? This game is painful if you're going in blind. And now, if you're wondering why I'm saying it's painful to go in blind, and you're questioning my experience with the game, I've played this game too much. If I loaded up Steam, which I'm not gonna because I'd be embarrassed, I have over 2,000 hours on the PC version, and then I have, I think a little over 4 hours on the console version just for Destiny 2. I've played this game for literally half my life. That's not even a joke. Um, yeah, so if you are a brand new player, you've never played this game before, I do recommend trying the game. If you played a game like Warframe, it's going to be kind of like that, but Warframe is way better at directing you where to go and like kind of slowly pacing you. This game is going to throw everything at your face immediately, and it's going to basically tell you, hey, you choose. But the issue is that there's so much to choose from. Not really a good idea to just like blindly start picking things, because then you might pick, you know, an activity that's a little too hard, or you might pick, you know, something you just don't like. You know what I mean? There's different experiences that everyone's going to experience with this game. Um, this game does feature clans. I'd recommend going on an LFG website, or they do have an in-game sort of, they call it Fireteam Finder. I recommend using that to find squads for activities that you can't do. Also, finding a clan is a good idea just to, like, get people who are maybe on your same sort of level. Um, but yeah, the way I would explain this game is that 90% of this gaming community in Destiny are like very casual base, and believe me, if you think you're shit at this game, they're probably equally as shit at just other things. So don't feel bad if you're like you're that one guy in a fucking strike that's holding everyone back. It's just a strike. Nobody cares. Stuff like that. It's got decently length story. It's not crazy. Um, got a few notes here just so I can stay on topic. I think the main draws, though, are number one, visually, this game is fucking stunning. This DLC is going to showcase that, and then some, for sure. All the DLCs are just, like, thematically fucking amazing. Seasons, thematically fucking amazing. Combat, one of the I genuinely believe Destiny 2 is the best FPS looter shooter on the market, and it's free. And I know I'm saying it's free, but it's not free. You know, when you get into the nitty gritty, I'll get into that in a little bit. But another thing is the class fantasy. So if you're a brand new player and you don't understand, there's Hunter, there's Warlock, there's Titan. If you do, I'm gonna say this, and maybe there's people who disagree. I doubt it. If no matter what class you pick, it doesn't matter. A Warlock is kind of what it sounds like. You're gonna have visually more cool effects, I guess you could say. and like the theme of wearing a robe and everything. You're basically picking your class for armor and the class ability, but this isn't like your typical, like Warframe, your frame matters. This isn't like that. There's only 3 classes. All the classes fundamentally do the same thing, or you can basically make them do the same thing. For example, Warlock, they have supers that are pertain to healing, and all the other classes, you can essentially make their super do some sort of supportive effect. Whether that's like weakening, healing the team, like, you kind of get the point. It doesn't matter what class you choose, you're just picking for a cosmetic and, more or less their mobility because their jump. So, if you pick a Titan, you're like, damn, this jump sucks, try the Hunter. Hunter's got a double jump. Just don't play Warlock because Warlock has the worst jump ever created known to mankind. But anyways, I'm a Titan main. Anyways, but yeah, the classes are very diverse in that literally they all do everything, and that might sound like, oh, well, then what the fuck is the point of classes? There's not really a point in classes, but we're gonna pretend there is. Um, but yeah, like, you can do massive AoE with all of them. You can basically support the team with all of them. You can, be sneaky. I don't know why you would want to, but you could just be sneaky with all the classes if you want to. You can go insanely far with all the classes if you want to. There's plenty of exploits that allow you to do that. So if you're worried about classes, don't worry about it too much. Specifically just for new players, you're chilling. Pick whatever class you think looks cool or you enjoy their jump the best, and that's pretty much it. Or just try them all. It is free, might as well. Not really a point not to. Anyways, if you're concerned about, does this game have endgame? Because there's a lot of looter shooters and there's a lot of MMOs now, and there's like the Lost Arks and there's the fucking World of Warcrafts and Borderlands, and there's a lot of these different types of games. Some of them have shitty early games, some of them have great end games. Destiny's end game is kind of up to you. You can get to the max level kind of by playing the game. It's a little weird. Basically, the longer you play, the higher your level goes each season, so it eventually gets reset. You do have an armor score, but you'll max that out by basically sleeping with the controller in your hand, so you don't have to worry about you being on level. It's kind of just like if you play the game a lot. And yeah, so the end game is very good, I'd say. And I know that was a little, like, monotone, but it's good. It just could be better, but you can say that with, like, fucking anything. The difficult activities are difficult, but they're not rewarding. But there are difficult activities if you're looking for them. They're just not that rewarding. They're more for, like, collector item sort of things. Like, in normal games, you probably get titles, you probably get, like, rare armor and stuff like that, or, like, a rare item, like, cosmetic thing. Destiny does have those things. Most of it is in the shop. Most of it is like season brain dead shit that is just basically play the game, or do it a certain way. Basically, like, do raids with all the same class and all that other shit. But for the most part, I'd say the end game is good. There are dungeons. Dungeons are 3-man activities that are pretty fun. If you're newer to Destiny 2 and you don't know what a dungeon is, they are soloable. If you do want to just solo it, you could. It's not one of those things that, like, you're an elitist player if you've soloed every dungeon. You know what I mean? It's kind of just like, you could do it. Sorry, that was a fly. You could just do it if you wanted to. It's up to you. And then there's raids, which require 6 people most of the time. You can get away with some, but that's like little shit. For the most part, you're gonna have a 6-man team every time. The raids are the most fun thing, and the raids are what I think makes Destiny Destiny. There's no other game on this fucking planet that has anything comparable to Destiny's raids. And I've played WoW, not a lot, I'll say that. I've played Final Fantasy, I've seen their raids, I've seen their endgame raids, and all this other shit. And I understand if you've come from that community, you're like, well, these are some of the hardest activities in gaming history. I get it. But listen, not always about being difficult, you know, that's not always fun. Almost every single encounter Destiny has for their raids are fun. And they're typically 4 to 5 encounters. You get 4 to 5 pieces of gear per run, basically. But they're very unique. They're very easy to understand. Especially the newer ones. They're very easy to understand, so you can kind of pick up a lot of the content that you think you've missed out on. Now, if you're worried about the FOMO of like, oh damn, I don't want to start playing this game and miss out on everything, don't worry. This game progressively just gets more and more power fantasy vibe. And what I mean by that is everything I've earned in year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh wait, we're in year 6, maybe 7. I can't keep track of this shit, man. But basically everything I've earned are not going to be null and void, but if I like to use those over what's coming out, I'm just going to use the things I like just because I like them. It's not a matter of like this is blatantly better than this. 90% of the time, anything in the new season or the new content, that's just going to be straight up better than whatever the previous content previous year provided. But that's mainly because weapons will get perks, and the perks will determine how good they are. But if you're worried about stuff like that, you don't have to fear. The FOMO is there. There's definitely going to be fear of missing out on like previous old content, and maybe you miss out on some really cool armor sets. Doesn't matter. Whatever the next season is, they always do a really good job of providing great armor, great content, great fucking weapons. Every year consistently, and I don't think they're gonna stop. I think they'll probably keep funding Destiny 2, but I'd highly suggest looking more into that if you're more interested to that side. I don't personally believe that Destiny 2 is gonna die anytime soon. However, I did at moments. I don't presently think that. They'd have to really fumble the bag for me to start thinking that again. Just to get into the developers. Now, if you're like me, when I'm playing a new game, I typically like to research who the developers are, what they've made, and stuff like that. If you don't know, Bungie made the good Halos in the good timeline. So they finished with Halo Reach, but they made Halo 3 and Halo 2. And if you're newer in this generation, this day and age, and you don't know what Halo is, I don't blame you anymore. They fucked it. Thank you, Microsoft. But Halo is just the golden games for the golden age of gaming is the best way I describe it. Whenever you hear people talk about those OG Modern Warfare 2 lobbies, you could say the same thing about the OG Halo 2 and 3 lobbies. You know what I mean? That's like the comparison. And yeah, so they made the good Halos. They stopped making Halo, and they decided to make this game. Now they're very. It's been a man. It's been a rough 10 years with this game. I'll be honest. Destiny 1 went through very big bumps with Activision for sure. And if you didn't know, Bungie was partnered originally with Activision up until their DLC Shadowkeep, which I believe was their year 2 launch. If I'm not mistaken, I think Shadowkeep was their year 2 launch for Destiny 2. But they split with Activision a long time ago at this point, so like there's no excuses with Activision being greedy or whatever. You can't say that anymore. That's just not how it goes. But as developers stand right now, the people who are currently working on this game seem to care about this game. And they did just do a massive layoff, and they did just fire a lot of people who've been with Bungie for years, decades even. So it's depressing to see them go. But the people who are working on this game, I will say, seem to care about the game. The dev team, as far as the balancing, I think they're a little bit more aware of what's going on. They do take their time, so when something is typically broken, it'll be broken for a long time. Or when something's very overpowered, it'll be overpowered for a long time. That might change in the future with these changes with staff. A little up in the air. But if you're worried about, you know, devs abandoning this game, the people currently on this game working on it, don't know what that number is because it's Bungie. I will say, they seem to be invested. They seem like they're going to be planning on working on this game for at least another few years. There's a rumor that Destiny 3 is in the works. I wouldn't let that ruin you from trying out Destiny 2. Now, the big part of your decision in getting this game is probably going to come down to the money. Now, I know you can download this game for free, and I highly recommend trying out the game before you make any final purchases, at least for a few hours, because it's a free game. I want to say this, it is not a cheap game to keep up with. Now, you might have games like World of Warcraft that charge subscriptions every month, for example. That, I would even say, is arguably better than the way Destiny handles their prices. Because essentially what they'll do is that there's a battle pass that you pay for every, I think it's 3 months, so quite a long battle pass. Not, like, you'll just get it done if you play the game, basically. It's not, like, anything too complicated. But, you will almost need... You'll definitely need the battle pass in order to continue with lore and shit like that, but you don't need to do that if you just, like, love doing raids. Stay on your raids, fuck the seasonal content. Seasonal content is typically, do this thing, wait a week. Okay, now you did this thing, now talk to this person, wait a week. Okay, you talk to that person, now go talk to this person, and then back to the other person. Now wait another week. You know what I mean? It's whatever. You can live without the battle pass, I'd say, if you're just here for gameplay. But then on top of the battle passes, there's also the in-game store, but there's no loot boxes. However, you do have to pay for transmog, which is really a word that I'm not going to say on YouTube, but it's just bad, very bad. There's like a consumable item that you can use on a piece of armor, basically, and then you can permanently use that piece of armor on all the characters. It's really bad the way they've done that system. That's probably one of their biggest weaknesses, but that's mainly what the shop is there for. Everything else, I mean, if you see something cool in the shop, it's typically like a bundle's $20, your standard formula for, you know, in-game shops. Now, on top of that, they'll typically do, you know, every summer they have events, every winter they have events, every Halloween they have events. For all those events, they typically have their own battle pass that you can buy. That's like $20, I think. So, it can get quite pricey throughout the year. And then to finish it off, every yearly expansion is $60, or 50 USD, I guess. And then if you're like me and you're Canadian, it's basically $70, $80 to just keep up with content. Now, I will say you don't need the DLC to enjoy this game, and you don't need the DLC to understand this game. When you start the game with or without the DLC, you will be fucking confused no matter what. It's not like the DLC gives you a straight line of, you do this, 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 this. If you want that, highly recommend looking up a guide, because it is painful trying to navigate all the systems as a new player in this game. But yeah. So if you're a new player or a returning player, haven't played in a long time, highly recommend giving Destiny 2 a chance. This is the time to start playing. Final Shape, which is the final DLC, allegedly, they're going to release for Destiny 2, is coming out, concluding the Light and Dark storyline, which is basically, this is like watching Emperor Palpatine fight Luke Skywalker and one of them dies. That's basically what this is. Yeah, so if you're new or returning, highly recommend giving Destiny 2 a chance. It is a great game. It's got a lot of rough edges. Believe me, it's got a lot of rough edges. But if you're new to the game, why not download it? Why not try it out? It is kind of expensive to keep up with the game, and it is kind of big as a game. But hey, you know, that's kind of just the way games are now. That's kind of the way the games are nowadays. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Comment any tips, I guess, or if you like the video, That's about it.